Welcome to my channel. Thanks so much for stopping by. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make paleo lemon blueberry bread and banana bread protein balls, also paleo. Now I'm going to keep it real with you. The reason why I'm making this video is because I've got some bananas that have seen better days. These bananas are not cute. So I figured, why not kill two birds with one stone, kill off my bananas, and also show you how I'm going to do that. So, let's get started with the paleo lemon blueberry bread. So this recipe comes from Smile Sandwich, and we are going to need 2 cups of almond flour, 2.5 tablespoons of coconut flour. Yes, I am reading off of my phone in case you're wondering why I'm looking down. Sorry, I don't have the recipe memorized by heart. We need 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda, 3 eggs, 2 tablespoons of almond milk. The recipe calls for 1/4 cup of honey or maple syrup. I'm actually going to use coconut sugar, and I'll explain why in a little bit. So we need 2 small bananas, very ripe, mashed. So we'll do that. We need 1/4 cup of coconut oil, 1 lemon zested. I do not have a lemon to zest, so we are going to use lemon juice. Part of the reason why I'm using coconut sugar, but I'll explain that in just a second. And then 1 cup of fresh blueberries. Now, so going back to the reason why I'm using coconut sugar instead of honey and or maple syrup. Well, so I actually have made this recipe before, and while it did taste delicious, I did find two small problems with it. So one, it wasn't lemony enough for my taste. Blueberries were spot on. The lemon, I was just wishing popped out a little bit more, which is also another reason why I will be using lemon juice, and possibly a little bit of lemon extract, TBD on that. I want to use lemon juice anyways instead of the zest because I want there to really be more of a lemon flavor this time around. And then also I noticed the last time that I made this recipe, it turned out kind of wet, as paleo bread tends to, especially when you've got bananas in the mix. Anything that you make is just probably going to be a little bit wet. And so I'm hoping that by switching these ingredients around a little bit, it'll make the bread a little bit more dry. Not that I necessarily have a problem with it being wet. I like moist. I just don't want it to be like I touch it and then I've got stuff on my fingers. So we're going to see how that works out today. So yes, I've made this recipe before. No, I have not made these modifications before. So we're kind of in this together. Let's get started. So the first step in this recipe, it says to preheat the oven to 355 degrees. I always like to wait and do that because I feel like with any recipe, it always takes me so much longer to do it than what they say it's going to take you. And I am trying to be conscious of not making my gas bill go up if I don't have to. So we're going to hold off on that for a minute, but we'll get there. Step 2, we're going to combine the almond flour, coconut flour, and baking soda in a medium bowl. So, almond flour, coconut flour, and baking soda. So remember that was 2 cups of almond flour. Alright. So that's 1 cup. A little less than. Here we go. Should be good. Thought for a minute I saw weevils in my almond flour. I was like, oh heck no, it's just almond skin. Which actually, come to think of it, okay, so I don't know if this is a thing in the Midwest. When I lived in Louisiana, definitely, like, if I left something in my pantry too long, weevils would be in there in no time. But I don't think I've had any problems with weevils since I've been up here. I'm not sure if that's just a southern thing or if I've gotten better at taking care of my pantry supplies, for lack of a better word. We've got the almond flour. Let's combine the coconut flour, so 2.5 tablespoons. And then we're also going to do 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda. Please do not do tablespoons for this. You're going to have a bad time. Alright, so 1. Please don't pour all into my bread. Probably would have been better if I scooped it, but we're here now. Okay, so that looks like 1 1/4 because some kind of sprinkled in there, so I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit more. With baking, you should definitely try and measure out your Ingredients. I am just so used to just eyeballing things and winging it. I get pretty close to the measurement, if not like exactly on the measurement. I mean, I doubt I ever get like exactly on the measurement, but I get close enough to where it's like, doesn't matter usually. So I'm not super concerned about it, but if you're new to cooking and baking, I would definitely recommend just measure out your ingredients, save yourself the struggle. Just want to make sure there's no like random white chunks of baking soda. Now we're going to combine all wet ingredients except blueberries in a separate bowl. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and combine the sugar with this as well because it's a dry ingredient and I don't want to mix it with the wet stuff and have it be like weird. So I actually am gonna go back. I'm gonna go ahead and measure out that sugar. So it calls for 1/4 cup honey or maple syrup. Let's also do 1/4 cup of the coconut sugar. I will taste it before it goes in the oven and modify from there. Which I guess I'm going to do anyways since I'm not entirely sure about this lemon juice thing. I gotta test and see if it's lemony enough. So, first. Oh my god, that smells so good. So if you're unfamiliar with coconut sugar, as the name suggests, it's made from coconut. But it looks like brown sugar. Kind of smells like brown sugar too. Go ahead and mix that. So now we're going to combine all the wet ingredients in a separate bowl. So my wet ingredients, let's start with my bananas. Oh my god, this is gross. God, this banana. It's just like, please put me out of my misery. Ew. Oh my god, gross. So we've got our coconut oil, and I'm just gonna run this under hot water for like a minute or so, get it melted, because I only need 1/4 cup. While that oil's getting melted, I'm just gonna go ahead and add in my eggs and my milk. And here it recommends almond milk. We are going to use cashew milk, and it's unsweetened, but it's vanilla, so I'm hoping that adds a little extra something to it. 2 tablespoons of almond milk. We're gonna count 6. Bellissimo. I need 3 eggs. 1. Those eggshells kind of hurt if they poke you the wrong way. Kind of hurts. Alright. 2. 3. Then I'm gonna add my lemon juice. 1 lemon zested, that's probably, I don't know what that equates to in juice. I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it. Maybe say like, probably the actual measurement would be like 1 to 2 tablespoons, but I'm just gonna eyeball it. That actually might have been way too much lemon juice. We'll find out. 1/4 cup of coconut oil. Bam. Pour that in. Do this. I'm realizing that I didn't actually mash the bananas. That is because they are so ripe. I just know the second that the spatula hits them, they're just gonna like, so I'm not worried. And then we're going to pour the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients and mix the combine. And then we're gonna add our blueberries. So we just pour in all this goodness. We're gonna just mix it all together. This is what it looks like. Before I add the blueberries, I'm just gonna taste this batter to see what I think about it. I don't know what I think about that. But I'm kind of like, I can't tell if that's lemon or not. I get like a very like zap. Like I get like a very quick zap at the beginning of that. I'm like, it doesn't taste like lemon though, but it kind of tastes like lemon. I don't know. I think I'm gonna try just adding a teeny bit of lemon extract. I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing this for your own recipe. I'm just gonna try it for mine. Just 3 little taps. Boop, boop, boop. I'm gonna mix that in. Okay, let's see what I think about it now. Okay. No, I like that. I think that's good. I think that is lemony. That zap is not there anymore. I don't know what that was. That was weird. Before I add in the blueberries, real quick, I actually am going to preheat the oven to 350 degrees so that can be going while I'm doing this. A cup of blueberries. My freshly washed blueberries. Ah! Drop the blueberries. Okay, and then it says to gently fold the blueberries into the mixture, so I'm just going to do a little bit at a time. Just make sure that gets mixed in a little bit. It's easier if you have someone else doing this with you, so someone can stir and then someone can kind of slowly pour in the blueberries a little bit at a time. You know, just do your best. That's fine. So this is what the batter looks like with the blueberries. And then we're going to get a loaf pan and line it with the parchment paper and pour the batter in. Let's get this batter in the pan. This is definitely a thicker batter than I remember it being, so I'm hoping that my idea of not wanting it to be super wet works out. We'll see. Time will tell. You're also just going to want to take the batter in here and just kind of move it around and make sure it's filling up all the corners and make sure it's just smooth on top. So we're just waiting for the oven to preheat. So once it's preheated, we're just going to stick it in there, bake it for 25 minutes, and then what we're going to do is add some aluminum foil on top and let it bake for another 25 to 35 minutes. Alright, so I got my workspace cleaned up a little bit. I stuck not the banana bread. I stuck the lemon blueberry bread in the oven, so that's going right now. And now we're going to get started on our banana bread protein balls. So this recipe I've actually not made before. However, I'm super hyped because all of the other paleo banana bread recipes that I've tried, whether that's the banana bread cookies or just straight up banana bread, legitimately tastes like banana bread. It's awesome, so I'm excited to see how this one turns out. This recipe comes to us from Food by Mars. That link is also in the description down below. For this recipe, you're going to need 1/4 cup of mashed ripe banana. We're going to need, it says toasted coconut butter, or if you're not like super strict paleo, you can do almond butter, which is what I'm going to be using because I do not have coconut butter. Although this link also does include a recipe for the coconut butter, should you want to experiment with that, go for it, kid. I'm personally not going to be doing that, but if you've tried it, let me know how that tastes in the comments down below. I would be really curious to hear how that went for you. We're also going to be using shredded coconut, so we need 1/4 cup of that. We need 1/4 cup of coconut flour. We need 1/2 cup of vanilla or neutral protein powder. So the protein powder I am using is vanilla honeysuckle. I really enjoy this protein powder actually. I just picked it up on a whim. It was on clearance at one of our local grocery stores. I don't think it's technically paleo because it does have rice protein in it. This is what it looks like. I find that, you know, when I was working in the office, I would drink this with a little bit of matcha or just by itself, and it tasted like a vanilla milkshake except like a little bit powdery, but you know, we're not perfect here. So honestly, I really enjoyed this if you're looking for a good protein powder. If you're super strict paleo, then obviously you can't do this, but if you're more flexible in your paleo diet like I am, go for it. And then we're also going to need 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. I might do a little bit more because I really like cinnamon, but that's up to you. So the first step, it says to mix all ingredients in a food processor. I feel like my food processor is kind of tiny, so I'm actually just going to do this in my blender. Should work the same. But first, just learning our lesson from that, I'm actually just going to go ahead and make sure the banana is mashed in my bowl. So that will be our first step. So I'm taking my final sad banana and I'm going to mash it, and then I'm going to measure it out and put it in the blender behind me. Yeah. Gross. I'm just going to take my spoon, mash it really good. Got my cup right here. Let's see. I want the banana just be like all that I need. Yeah, that looks like 1/4 of a cup. So in case you were wondering, 1 banana is 1/4 of a cup of mashed banana. I'm just gonna throw that banana in there. We need 1/4 cup of coconut flour. have a 4th cup measuring cup. I just don't feel like doing more dishes, so I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it in my 1 cup measuring cup. Great, got that in there. I need half a cup of the protein. Let's do that next. If you are looking for one that is paleo, the protein powder I mean, she also does include her personal favorite, the author's personal favorite in the description on the site. So you should check that out if you're looking for something that's paleo recommended. Oh my god, that smells so good. Alright, dump it. Look at all that. I don't know if you can see the smoke flying from there, but it's light powdery. But it smells delicious, so I'm not gonna complain. Next, let's do the shredded coconut. So you can do coconut flakes. I'm just gonna do a 4th cup of that. If you really love coconut, I'm sure it's fine to just go all in with this and add as much coconut as you want. Keeping in mind that this is supposed to be a banana bread protein ball, not a coconut banana bread protein ball, but yeah, obviously do what you want. It's your protein balls. So this recipe recommends half a teaspoon. I'm gonna go with a full teaspoon because I love cinnamon. Cinnamon's good for you. Oh geez, that might have been. Like, I'm not here to do the cinnamon challenge. I don't think I ever did do that. I feel like I was at the age where people like were into that. Whenever that came out, like that was definitely like for my age group, but I don't think I ever participated in that because I'm like, why would you? You're gonna choke. That's like super dry. Anyways, now let's move on to the almond butter. We usually get ours from Costco, or we have this subscription service called Imperfect Produce. Sometimes you can find almond butter for a good price on there, like a good amount, good price. So sometimes we'll do that, but otherwise it just makes sense to get the almond butter from Costco because you can get, like, how many ounces is this? It's 27 ounces. I think we pay, you know what, honestly, I don't even remember how much we pay. I know it's less than 15. I want to say 13, but I also feel like that might be a little bit too high. I feel like it might actually be less than that. I don't know. I know normally at the store it's like $6 to $8 for 16 ounces. Yeah, do with that information what you want. So I'm just gonna blend this up, and then once it's all blended together, we are going to roll it up on some parchment paper. Okay, so my blender is pretty much just like, this is too much, we're not doing it. So, because I really don't want to break my blender, I'm gonna try and mix it up just a little bit in here. Let's give that a shot. Let's see how that does. Yeah, my blender's pretty much just over it. So, what we're gonna do now is just take everything from here, put it in this bowl, and we're just gonna do it with our hands. I've had protein ball recipes where you just mix everything by hand, so while I was hoping to avoid getting down and dirty, that's not what life wanted for me, and that's okay. Okay, so I said I was going to do parchment paper in a pan. I, for some reason, already had a pan ready to go with aluminum foil in it, so you know what? That's just what we're gonna stick with. Alright, let me get down and dirty. It's super powdery, which is kind of how these recipes tend to go. They just kind of like crumble in your hands until you like squish them together in a ball. So, you know, not out of the ordinary. If this is your first time making like some sort of protein ball recipe, then you might be a little bit like, what the heck? But it's okay, it's just normal. My personal recommendation would just be making it into like one big ball if you can, and then you can just pull off little chunks from there. Look at it go. Look at that ball. Look at that mass. So now we're just gonna tear off a little bit at a time. I don't know what the measurement of this is. I guess like the size of the palm of your hands. Really make them like whatever size you want. The author says this is supposed to make 8 balls. The size that I'm doing, I will very likely end up with more than that. If you have made protein balls before, what are some of your favorite recipes? We have one, it's like a no-bake protein ball, which we haven't made recently because it's got oats in it, and oats are not paleo. But it was really good. It had like, I'm trying to think, it had like coconut, it had chocolate, I think it had some peanut butter in it. Those were really good little snacks, especially for road trips and stuff. Back when we were doing road trips, those were good. Because you would eat like 2 of them and feel totally satisfied for like the next hour or 2. It's just like a nice little sweet treat to just kind of pop in, and then you don't really have to feel bad about it. So actually I thought I was going to end up with a lot more. I might end up with like 9 or 10, which I thought I was going to end up with like 12, but just comes to show I don't always know what I'm talking about. The recipe was actually fairly easy. I feel like protein ball recipes usually are pretty simple to do. It's just like you get your hands kind of messy, and actually, you know, thinking about it in comparison to the other protein ball recipe, it's like you would have peanut butter and chocolate all over your hands. It was like super sticky and gross. Oh, and I think we added maple syrup to that as well, so that made it like extra sticky. But this, like, actually my hands are a little bit powdery, but they're not that bad. I'm wondering if that's because I blended most of the ingredients first, because the other recipe, like, you don't add it to a blender, you just do it all with your hands. This one's not that bad though. Here we go. This is what the balls look like. So now we just have to set these in the fridge and let them chill. The recipe doesn't say exactly how long. I am probably just going to do maybe like 30 minutes because I have to wait for this banana bread to do its thing anyway. So I'm just going to stick this in the fridge for 30 minutes, check in on them then, and hopefully at that time the banana bread will, or I keep saying banana bread, oh my gosh, the lemon blueberry bread will be all set and ready to go. So once those are good to go, I will check back in. We will sit down and eat our little munchies and just talk about life. Alright y'all, so this is how it turned out. Waiting for that to focus. So this is how the bread turned out. So I did stick a knife in it just to make sure it was cooked all the way through, nothing came out, so we were in business. I did cook it for 30 minutes. So if you are at home, you might want to do maybe a little bit less than that, just because I know my oven runs a little bit cooler. But yeah, 25 to 30 minutes would be my recommendation. It looks like a really nice golden brown. So I'm just going to let that cool, and then we're going to snack. All right, so we did it. We've got our banana bread and our little protein balls. Come on, camera, zoom in. And there we go. In all its glory. The bread is still a little bit hot, but I'm gonna take a little bit of a bite anyways. It kind of fell apart. I cut it at like a weird angle, and to be honest, I didn't take the parchment paper out of the loaf. I just tried to like cut it while it was still in the pan, and you should take it out first and then try to cut it. But let's give this a shot. Let's see how it turned out this time. I was really hoping it would turn out more lemony this time. And maybe it's because it's still hot. The blueberry definitely comes through. I think, I don't know, I'll have to try a bite when it's hot, or not hot, I mean, and see how that turned out. But I will say it's definitely less wet than it was last time, which I'm super happy about. So yeah, if you're trying this at home, I would recommend doing the coconut sugar instead of the honey or maple syrup, just to kind of help with the wetness. Can I help you? What are you doing? Okay, that bite surprisingly had a bit more lemon in it. Oh my god, can you get away from my tripod? Yes, you. Please do not cuddle my tripod. No, get away. I'm gonna start banning you from these mukbang sessions. Stop it! Yes, you. Get away. But anyways, let's try these banana bread protein balls. I'm super excited. That is so good. That is super good. I'm really happy I added the extra cinnamon in there. I think that went a long way. If you're not such a big fan of cinnamon, then by all means it's not recommended, but for me personally, I'm very happy I went forward with that because I think it paid off. Wow, that's super good. I'm gonna have to remember to make more of those. Yum. Yum. Yeah, so I know like this isn't like a meal like my past 2 videos have been, but I think it's still fun to get in front of the camera and cook, show you what I'm baking. I've always loved cooking and baking, but especially like the older I get, the more I know about like different diets and different spices and just all sorts of different ways to cook. Like I learn a lot more about it, and it's just so fascinating. Like, you could look at my spice rack, it's loaded. If I had to guess, I would say I have at least 30 different spices, if not more. And that's just like scraping the surface of the spices that I wish I had in my possession. I love cooking, experimenting with different flavors. Which is super kind of ironic because I used to be such a picky eater when I was a kid. But really, since moving to Chicago and kind of like growing into my own, like, and especially in Chicago, the food scene is outrageous. It's great. I love it. It's definitely one of the things I'm missing during this pandemic is not being able to go out and try all the new restaurants that have opened up. But mind you, we've been getting takeout from a few, but there's definitely like a ton on our list that we feel would be more like a dine-in experience. So the list is growing and growing every single day. But yeah, it's really interesting to see like what these chefs can come up with. I'm really fascinated by that, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to expand my palate because, you know, back where I'm from a small town in Louisiana. So I mean, obviously Southern food is great. We've got good food. To be honest, sorry, there's a fly. To be honest, I'm not super huge into the Cajun meal. Like, I don't do gumbo, I don't do jambalaya, I don't do red beans and rice. Anyone from the South is going to look at me like I'm just absolutely bizarre. I don't do that. I do like crawfish. I do like hush puppies. I love me some king cake. I used to not like boudin balls, but now that I'm older, I'm kind of like, you know what? I should give them a shot again because maybe I just had bad ones and that ruined my experience. I love fried green tomatoes. I love po' boys. We found a place not too far from me called Surf's Up. They are a Black-owned seafood restaurant, I guess, is what they advertise themselves as. But they do all sorts of stuff. They've got po' boys. They do like lobster and crab, you know, for the seafood. My personal favorite is the shrimp po' boy. It is, as someone from Louisiana, the most authentic po' boy I've had since visiting South Louisiana many, many years ago. You know, they got the French bread, they got the right toppings, that fried shrimp is on point. Love it. So good. When I'm not eating paleo, I definitely love going to Surf's Up as a little treat. They also have these wings. They've got good wings, right? But they have this Hennessy sauce, and oh my god, it is so good. So good. Like, I dream about those wings. If you're in the Chicago area, definitely I recommend checking out Surf's Up. They've got a couple different locations. The one closest to me is in Old Town. They just opened up. To be honest, I've heard, so my former coworker, I've heard that they do like these awesome Cajun fries, so I was also stoked to get the Cajun fries there. I don't know if you go to the Old Town location, they're not Cajun. I will say that. And I have a feeling it's because it's a predominantly white area and stereotypically white people can't handle the spice. Salt and pepper, that's all you get at that location. Supposedly, though, the other locations have Cajun fries, so if you're close to the other locations, give them a shot. Just give them a shot anyways. It doesn't matter what location you go to. The fries are so good, they're just not Cajun if you go to the Old Town location. But yeah, where was I going with that? I went on like a whole thing. The Chicago food scene. Yes, the whole point was that I've been having a good time making these videos because it's like I'm cooking this stuff anyways. I might as well just jump in front of the camera and talk about it. And I've been wondering for a while now, like, what I can make a YouTube channel about, because it's something I've always wanted to do. And I just knew that when I made a channel, I wanted it to be something that I could keep up with. Please get away from my tripod! I didn't want it to just be like one thing that I did and then like it felt like I had to continue it, like it's a job to get away from my tripod. No! That's right, you better run. Sorry, he was trying to like literally wrapping his paws around the leg and I was just like, if my camera goes down, I will cry. But yeah, so the whole point of this is that I don't want it to feel like a job. I want it to be something I enjoyed. Because realistically, what are the chances of me making like a livable income off of this? This is just something I'm doing for fun. If I make a little cash money from it, then that's all fine and well. I won't argue. But for the most part, this is just something to be like, hey, cooking is cool, eating paleo is cool, and, you know, just talking about my life, kind of vlogging a little bit. Let's just combine everything and call it a day. I think another reason why I've been putting off making a YouTube as well is because I know it's not necessarily the videoing, recording, whatever word you want to use for that, it's not necessarily that takes forever, it's the editing. And yeah, the editing takes forever. So I mean, that's part of it too. It needs to be a video that I'm just like, yes, I don't mind editing this. This was great to make. Let's see this through. And you know, with us kind of like partially being in quarantine, not going out as much, I am kind of forced to have more time to just sit down and do this, which is, it's good. It's a good thing. Would I like to be able to go out more often? Yeah, of course. I was really hoping to travel more this year. That's not happening. But it's okay. It's giving me the opportunity to kind of take whatever money I can and save it for a little bit. That one's crumbly. To save it a little bit and to just kind of like force myself to do the things that I'm putting off. Like cleaning my house or making videos for the internet to enjoy. So yeah, and also just to like share with people, because I've had such a good experience eating paleo, like I honestly do feel better. I feel better and I'm not having to sacrifice my health or the flavor of it. I feel good, the food tastes good, and hopefully someone will come across these videos and whether they're paleo or not, be like, oh, like that looks like an interesting recipe, I should try that. Or maybe they're like new to cooking and, you know, hopefully I'm giving clear enough directions to help push you to do the thing. So yeah. Like, and it's not about the weight loss. I did originally get into eating paleo to try and lose a little bit of my weight. I've still got a ways to go, mind you, but it's been like a little under 4 months now. I've lost about 20 pounds. And that's with like not exercising really and also kind of like cheating having my cheat days. I would say on average once a week. It's probably a little bit less than that. But if I just had to say it, probably like once a week. And I've still managed to lose the weight. And I think it also helps that I think a lot of the weight gain was because like I turned 21 and I was like, ooh, cocktails! No one told me about these. So I just kind of like went to town on every cocktail I could. And I haven't really drank alcohol. Like I have a glass of wine every now and then. And we also do hard seltzer every once in a while. But like, I haven't had a beer since May, I guess. I can't even think of the last time I've had a beer. And so like now, if I do decide to have a cocktail, like with spirits and stuff, like one drink and I get tipsy, which I'm just like, cool, we're back to being a cheap drunk. That's awesome. But yeah, so I think I think a considerable amount of the weight gain was from drinking alcohol, because that tends to do that to you, so a lot of that fell off. And I think also not eating dairy was a big thing too, because like I love cheese. So getting that out of my system for the first time in 23 years, yeah, like my taste buds are kind of missing it, but the rest of me is pretty happy, so, you know. And I think, you know, there's no one diet that fits every single shoe. Everyone kind of has to do their own thing and adjust it how they see fit. So, like, for example, I'm staying away from peanuts or peanut-related products because I feel like they're more fatty. They don't really have as much nutritional value as other nuts. So it kind of makes sense why they're not part of the paleo diet. So I'm just kind of like, yeah, I don't need them, whatever. My boyfriend Caleb, on the other hand, you know, not that he goes to town on peanuts, like he's not stocking our house with peanut butter or anything by any means, but if he might get an RX bar that has peanut butter in it and just be like, it's not that big of a deal. He loves peanut butter, so like I get it. It's not bad enough for you to just completely cut cold turkey, but it's also one of those things that, you know, you just have to do in moderation. That's the key, is all things in moderation. Just finding a balance for everything, like, that's the key to life. I really, honestly cannot think of any sort of scenario where balance is not a good thing. Yeah, no, nothing. That's because I feel like people get into trouble when they're too much of this or too little of that. Or if you are just able to find some sort of middle ground, maybe a little bit this, maybe a little bit that, yeah, you'll get the thing, you'll do the thing, you'll get the golden star. So, anyways, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here, finish my snackies and just another couple bites. But I won't keep the video going too much longer. I think I've pretty much said all I needed to say about making these delicious bites and why I kind of started my YouTube channel in the first place. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I will be putting videos out once a week. Haven't really figured out a schedule yet, or like what day that's coming out. So just keep an eye on my videos. You can hit the bell to turn on notifications. That'll keep you updated for when I actually do decide to post, but it'll for sure be once a week. You know, life happens. I'm not gonna make any promises right now, but just count on it being once a week. And then yeah, comment down below if you tried these recipes. How did it turn out for you? The bread with the coconut butter, let me know how that turned out. I might give that a shot next time I make these. And yeah, until next time, I hope you stay safe and stay well, and I will see you later. Bye!